That was a crazy check-in experience. Flipping heck. Anyone guess what number check this is? Because I've lost count. And this is awesome. Nope, I'm wrong. Today we are at Sylhet Osmani International Airport in Bangladesh. We are taking a flight from Sylhet to Manchester on board Biman's new Boeing 787 Dreamliner. This is a new route for Biman, having only been launched towards the end of December 2021, flying twice a week. They do a check before you get in the door. I've been, I can say, more critical of Biman, more than usual, because given some of the experiences that I had, but I'm hoping they can change that. Let's see how we get on. This is the departures lounge, land side, and queuing to get into the check-in counters just up ahead. I've got this called the Mujib Corner. Explains all the history about the founder of Bangladesh. Quite interesting. It's an odd thing to see at an airport. Odd combination as well. So it turns out you need a paper copy of the passenger locator form because they don't accept electronic copies for some strange reason. So to go all the way over there, there's a shop that does printouts. So yeah, I think one advice is whenever coming to countries like Bangladesh, make sure you always have a paper copy. Sometimes even several paper copies. So it's been half an hour, I've barely moved a few meters. Don't know what the hold up is really. You've got a few guys who, while you're in the queue, they check all your forms and so on, which is fair enough, that's actually a good thing. So I don't understand what the hold up is at the check-in counter, because assuming all forms are checked, check-in should be relatively straightforward and swift, but it's not. So we've moved a bit further now. We're actually in the main departures hall, well, check-in area. So you've got international check-in and international departures on one side, and then on the left side you've got domestic check-in and domestic departures. This is actually part of the old terminal that they've just refurbished. I believe there are plans to refurbish the entire airport, so this will probably get demolished. Yeah. It's okay what they've done, managed to do with an old building. We are almost there. There's two people ahead of us. That little sign over there is a bit of a strange one. It says any valuables such as ornaments, mobile phones, money, cameras, etc. cannot be carried in checked luggage. However, if you do want to carry it, you need to declare the value and pay the appropriate charges. It sounds a bit like some kind of insurance basically that they're selling, so probably won't bother if you do have other forms of travel insurance. Well, the flight is already delayed. It was meant to depart at 1:30. It's now departing at 2:15. Typical. So having trouble checking in due to misunderstanding of COVID and testing rules and so on and so forth. Well, that was a crazy check-in experience. Flipping heck. Gotta say, Biman gets a 0 out of 10 for check-in. Can't believe all the hassle I've had to go through. So you come through there, you think when it's all over, you've gotta come here, get your PCR test stamped by them, then go over there, get your PCR further checked, and then finally see immigration. We really need to streamline the whole check-in and immigration process. Can't believe it's taken this long. So we are finally through security. I guess this is the only lounge in the airport. This is what we're flying with today. So this is the 787-800. It was delivered to Biman in November of 2018. It's got a name of, let's see if I can read that, the Hangsa Balaka. Not entirely sure what that means. But yeah, they've given names to most of their more recent Boeing aircraft. Just over there you can see a Novo Air taxiing. So this is the runway of Sylhet Airport. So it's actually called Osmani International Airport, named after one of the generals during the Bangladeshi war, I'm assuming. I think the Novo Air might be ready to take off. The actual main lounge area that contains all the shops is basically just up from the escalators. However, as usual, they've got another check. Don't know why they have all these checks. You can see the queue forming here. It's an unnecessary queue. So the last time I took a Biman flight was way back in 2008, I think. No, actually, it might have been before that even, in fact. But it's quite a long time ago. I think I flew in one of their DC-10 aircrafts. It wasn't the best of experience. Obviously, they've retired those aircrafts now. If you've not watched my other video about the history of Biman, go check that one out. It explains all about their fleet and how they've revamped it recently. Currently, they are actually running a all Boeing fleet for their international routes. The domestic ones have a mix of Boeing 737 and Dash 8s. If you ever Google basically what Biman are like, you probably come across several Biman videos. So there's one from well-known aviation enthusiast Sam Chewy. He's done an extensive video about Biman, which is quite good. The only review I can see is by Noel Phillips. However, in my opinion, I would say it's a non-review because he does go in business class, and obviously things are much better in business class, and people don't often complain about business class. So some of the things he references in his video about bad reviews and so on are from people experiencing economy class. The hard product is meant to be good. I mean, of course, I'll be reviewing that today anyway and experiencing that for myself. However, their soft product, which is all the kind of ground experience, check-in, it's still way behind many other national carriers. In fact, compared to their direct competitors such as US Bangla, they are streets ahead. But yeah, I'm not going to write them off just yet. Let's give them a chance. Anyone guess what number check this is? Because I've lost count. So this is the Sylhet Airport Departure Lounge. Can't really spend much time here, not that I'd need to, because there's not really much here anyway. Yeah, I've got to board straight away now. Oh yeah. Okay, that's the business class. And this is economy class. Noel Phillips, if you're watching, this is what you should have reviewed. We are in 24D. What the hell that is? It looks like I've bagged myself basically an extra legroom emergency exit seat by swapping around with another passenger that didn't want it. So I've got all this legroom. Simply amazing. It's actually more spacious than I thought it would be. So the seats are spread out 3-3-3 configuration. So in an emergency exit seat, you don't get the readily set up screen in front of you. Instead, it's stowed away down here. So I'll pull that out once you've taken off. And the only other issue is you don't really have much of a window. There's one directly behind me, and it's got a slight view of the rear of the wing. I can use the windows on the emergency exit door should I need to take anything outside, but it's directly over the wing, so I'm not really going to get much of a view of the ground. So let's see what you get. You get a blanket, which I'm going to need on this 12-hour flight. We'll try and get some sleep. Other than that, there's not really much here. So they've handed these out. So these are basically, this is disinfectant wipes, so I guess you can wipe the seat down and so on.
The features of this aircraft. Whenever the seatbelt sign is switched on,
That's some awesome dubbing.
adjust the passenger plate, pull the two red toggles firmly downwards. It can also be inflated.
We pushed back at 2:30, which was 50 minutes later than the scheduled departure time. Airlines often build in additional time in their flight duration to accommodate for late departures such as this. Biman has somewhat improved on their notorious reputation of years gone by where your flight would be delayed by several hours or cancelled altogether. Our flight today was scheduled to be 12.5 hours. However, it was actually only 11 hours, meaning we landed 1 minute before our scheduled arrival time. Our route today would take us over India, Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, across Europe and finally into the UK with a cruising altitude of 40,000 feet. The reason I couldn't open it was there's a lever here. Pull that and it pops out, so I'll show you again. Pull that. Nice. Pop it up. And there you go. It's actually quite a high definition screen that they've got here. One good thing is that you don't need those two-pronged adapters, you just need the regular headphones. So let's check out what options they've got. Select English. So they've got videos, live television, audio, games, kids zone. So we've got categories at the top. Let's check out the latest Hollywood movies. It's not really a huge selection of Bollywood. I'm sure they've got more, sorry, I keep saying Bollywood, I meant Hollywood movies. There's not much of a selection of Hollywood movies. They've got more older ones. I'm sure there will be a huge amount of Hindi movies. Nope, I'm wrong. Maybe they've got mainly Bangla. Yeah, they actually don't have much. One of the more interesting parts that I've found is this Bangla documentary. So they've got quite a number of documentaries about their history. So you got 400-year history about Dhaka, the 1971 war. I'm sure there are a few others that are of interest. And they've got Western comedy. So these are series and things like that. These are the live television channels available. These are the games. Oh, I actually really like this though, look. It's a lot better than the static ones that you have on other airlines, including Emirates. This one is a lot more interactive. Oh, you just change the view of the airplane. And this is awesome. The in-flight entertainment is new and very responsive. The air maps are actually better than many airlines that I've been on. However, the actual content is lacking, and the content is what would keep you occupied for the 12-hour flight. Therefore, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. I'd recommend bringing your own content or planning to sleep for the duration of the flight. There was Wi-Fi on board, but it didn't seem to allow any sort of connection to the actual internet. No plans or pricing were displayed. All I can surmise from that is they either don't have any service contracts in place or they just didn't bother switching it on. So by the looks of it, there aren't any actually USB charging ports. Good thing I've got my power bank. Most newer aircraft have electronic dimming. As it turns out, Biman lock you out from operating these, which is bizarre. What is more bizarre is that they left the shades permanently dimmed for the entire flight. Lunch is about to be served, so let's get the tray table out. Perfect. So they had the option of beef, chicken or mutton. I chose the chicken. Let's see what it looks like. It's quite hot. It smells good. Let's see what it tastes like. So it's alright, but it is a bit dry. Taste is there. Yeah, the chicken could be a bit more juicier. So they've given a salad. Calling it a salad is a bit of a stretch. There were no menus available on the flight either, so I couldn't tell you the name of some of these items. For example, the dessert was a sponge type of cake of some sort. And this snack box, which was handed out mid-flight, was very underwhelming. I couldn't tell what was in the sandwich. Was it some kind of tuna or chicken mix? If you know, let me know in the comments. So, my thoughts on the flight so far. The first meal was actually quite decent, I have to say. The second snack box was very underwhelming. I'm hoping that's not the last meal because I'm going to be really hungry if that is by the time we land. There was a third meal, thankfully. It was a chicken biryani. In terms of the cleanliness of the bathroom, it's really atrocious. To be honest, I don't really blame the airline. I blame the passengers more, not cleaning up after themselves. Let me show you around. The sink area doesn't really look too bad. It's when you get to the actual floor that's horrible. Disgusting. Our descent into Manchester was smooth. We landed at 1 minute to 8 in the evening. As I exited, I could tell the aircraft was in a state, but I guess that's to be expected after a 11+ hour flight. So what did I think of the flight after having promised I'd review them after giving them a hard time in my previous videos? I still think there's room for improvement. The check-in experience wasn't great to begin with. The food was actually tasty when it came to the main meals. However, the snack box needs improvement. Overall, I'd give the in-flight catering a 4 out of 5. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to reduce their rating to 1 out of 5 because at this point I stopped filming due to one of the worst bouts of diarrhea I have ever experienced. I can't imagine it was anything that I ate in Bangladesh, as I was there for 2 weeks and managed to not have any stomach problems while there. The only thing that had changed was flying Biman for 12 hours and eating their food. Now it's debatable whether it was their food or if it was the stress of the long flight that screwed me over, but it left me with a feeling like those people in the reviews that I mentioned earlier, saying to myself that I will never fly Biman ever again. Now that might sound harsh, but I have 3 main reasons why I wouldn't fly with them. Their soft product, such as purchasing tickets, check-in experience and overall ground experience, is still something that leaves a bitter taste. Their in-flight entertainment needs more content, especially on a long journey such as this. And I don't think it's worthwhile taking a direct flight over going with any of the Middle East 3 with a stopover. In fact, I think the stopover actually helps to break up such a long journey and reduce stress. And a bonus reason, Biman aren't exactly cheap. One could be forgiven for thinking people fly with them because they are the cheapest. This one-way flight cost me £500. Return flights aren't often seen for less than £800. With all that in mind, I'd rather take a flight with the likes of Emirates, even if it involves a stopover. And just to add, I don't think I'd even fly Biman domestically, as they aren't competitive on that front either. Hope you found this review useful. I understand many won't like what I have to say about Biman, but I wouldn't like to sugarcoat anything here, nor glamorize it by flying their business class, which isn't a reality for most people out there.